If you're a man over 60 and your hands have started feeling cold, your feet numb, and the quiet strength you once felt in the bedroom seems to have dimmed, then I want you to hear me out. Because what I'm about to share may challenge what you've been led to believe about aging. You see, most men think the answer to better blood flow or stronger mornings must be found in a bottle, maybe a pill, an injection, or an appointment with another specialist. But I'll tell you something, after over 30 decades in men's medicine, the body doesn't need a rescue. It needs a reminder. And that reminder may be right here in your own hands. I'm Dr. Jonathan Prescott. For more than 30 years, I've walked with men in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond, men who thought their best years were behind them. And I've seen how quickly things change when we stop blaming age and start listening to the body's deeper language. Today, I'll show you 3 pressure points, simple, powerful switches built into your nervous system that, when used correctly, can reactivate blood flow, restore warmth, and reignite the quiet confidence you may have been missing. But that's just the beginning. We'll also talk about how you breathe, how you hydrate, what you do before bed, and one special drink that can amplify these effects dramatically without medication, side effects, or complicated routines. So if you've been feeling slower, colder, or less connected to your strength as a man, please don't accept it as your new normal, because your body still remembers how to function. It just needs the right signal to come alive again. And I'm going to help you send that signal, starting today.
1. Why your circulation fades after 60, and why it's not your fault. Let me start with this. If your hands are cold, your feet go numb, and your energy feels like it's fading, it is not your fault. It's not weakness. It's not failure. It's your body doing exactly what it was designed to do, under pressure, under time, and yes, under the weight of getting older. Over the years, I've sat across from many young men in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s who've leaned in and quietly said, "Doc, I just don't feel like myself anymore." And I always listen closely. Because when a man says that, he's not just talking about fatigue. He's talking about a deeper shift. The warmth in his hands is gone. His feet feel slow, stiff, or numb, and the quiet fire, the one that once sparked in the early morning or stirred with just a glance, is now quieter. Here's what I tell them. Your body is still working. It's just not being heard. You see, after 60, several changes start happening in the body, and most of them are silent. Blood vessels begin to stiffen. The smooth, elastic lining inside your arteries loses flexibility, slowing blood flow to your heart, hands, brain, and yes, your manhood. Testosterone dips, not just affecting desire, but also blood circulation, energy production, and muscle function. Nerve signals slow down. That delay creates numbness, hesitation, and the subtle feeling that your body isn't responding like it used to. And over time, this slowdown becomes your new normal. You feel colder. You move slower. And if you're like many of my patients, you start believing that this is just how it is from now on. But let me challenge that, gently but firmly. It doesn't have to be. Because despite the years, despite the stress and the wear and tear, your body still remembers what it's like to function well. It still wants to deliver blood, energy, and vitality. It just needs the right activation, a signal to turn the system back on. That's where the pressure points come in. These aren't just acupuncture theories or alternative ideas. They're real neurological gateways built into the architecture of your body that connect to the very systems you're struggling with. Blood circulation, nerve signaling, hormonal response, and yes, the vascular flow required for healthy sexual function. Think of them as reset buttons, gentle, natural, built-in controls that your body is waiting for you to press. And today, I'll show you how. Let's begin with the first pressure point, a small area on your hand that might look ordinary, but when activated properly, can wake up the entire circulatory network from your fingers to your pelvis. This is where things start to change. Let me show you exactly where it is and how to use it. 2. Pressure point number 1, Li4, joining valley, the circulation switch. Let's begin where the healing begins, in the palm of your own hand. There's a spot between your thumb and index finger, right in the fleshy web. Most people never think twice about it. But what if I told you this quiet little valley holds one of the most powerful switches for blood flow in your entire body? In traditional Chinese medicine, it's known as Li4, or joining valley. But in my practice, I simply call it what it is, the circulation switch. I remember introducing this point to a patient named Walter, 68 years old, retired Navy. Sharp mind, strong presence. But lately, his hands were colder, his mornings quieter, and he came to me looking for something more than another prescription. I gently placed his thumb into that valley between his fingers and said, "Try pressing here. Not hard, not soft, just steady, and breathe while you do it." He pressed, waited, and after about 20 seconds, he whispered, "Something's happening. I feel heat and a pulse." That's when I smiled, because what he was feeling wasn't magic. It was blood flow returning, his body remembering. How to find and activate Li4. 1. Place your thumb on the back of your opposite hand, right in the webbing between thumb and index finger. 2. Apply firm but comfortable pressure. You should feel a dull ache, warmth, or gentle tingling. 3. Hold for 60 seconds. 4. Breathe deeply, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Let each exhale soften the tension in your body. Some of my patients close their eyes and visualize their blood traveling from hand to arm, from chest to heart, and finally into the pelvis. It's a simple act, but simplicity doesn't mean weakness. Li4 is connected to your large intestine meridian, yes, but more importantly, it interfaces with deeper systems: autonomic nerve regulation, microcirculation, pelvic blood supply, and even the reflex arc related to hormonal balance. That's why in men over 60, activating this point can feel like flipping a switch. A warmth returns, a pulse, and often within days of daily use, a deeper sense of inner strength begins to surface. Now listen, Li4 is powerful, but it works best as part of a system. There are 2 more pressure points I want to show you, each one connected to a different branch of energy. The next one is located in the center of your palm. It doesn't just activate flow, it wakes up your internal fire. Let's move on to pressure point number 2, Lao Gong, the Palace of Labor.
3. Pressure point number 2, Lao Gong, Palace of Labor, the internal furnace.
The second point I want to show you is hidden in the center of your palm, and what it unlocks isn't just blood flow, but inner fire. In traditional medicine, it's called Lao Gong, or Palace of Labor. But I like to think of it as the internal furnace, because that's exactly how it feels when you activate it. A low, steady heat begins to rise, starting in the hand and spreading inward, up the arm, toward the heart, sometimes even into the chest and belly. I remember one evening after a long shift at the clinic, I was drained, emotionally, physically, even spiritually. So I sat quietly, closed my eyes, made a soft fist, and brought my thumb to the exact point where my middle finger naturally rests in my palm. Then I pressed, slowly, in soft pulses, 3 seconds in, 1 second off. No force, no rush. Within a minute, I felt it, not just warmth, but something deeper, aliveness. Lao Gong is connected to the pericardium meridian, the energetic boundary of the heart. When activated, it doesn't just increase blood flow, it restores emotional vitality, helps relieve fatigue, and reawakens that feeling of presence. And here's something I've heard over and over from my older male patients. Doc, I'm not sad, I'm just flat, like something in me is turned off. To that I say, you're not broken, you're numbed, and your body remembers how to come back. How to activate Lao Gong. 1. Make a loose fist. Notice where the tip of your middle finger touches your palm. That's Lao Gong. 2. Using the thumb of your opposite hand, press in slow, rhythmic pulses. 3 seconds in, 1 second off. Do this for about 60 to 90 seconds. 3. As you press, breathe. Let your exhale be soft. You may feel warmth, tingling, or even a little wave of emotion. Some men report a sense of stillness. Others feel tears rise, not from sadness, but from relief. A quiet reminder that you're still here, still powerful, still alive. But we're not done. There's one more point, and this one taps into your strength, your stamina, and your drive. It's a point that's often forgotten, but once activated, it can bring back what many men thought they had permanently lost.
4. Pressure point number 3. Li10. Arm 3 miles, the strength booster. Years ago, I met a man named Curtis, 72, retired firefighter. Still sharp, still proud. But when he sat in my office, he looked defeated. Doc, he said, I've still got the will, but my body doesn't listen anymore. And I knew exactly what he meant. That's when I introduced him to the third point in our sequence, Li10, known traditionally as Arm 3 miles. The name comes from an old idea. Stimulate this point and you'll gain the strength to walk 3 extra miles. It may sound poetic, but I've seen the science behind it. Li10 connects to the large intestine meridian, but more importantly, it's embedded in the deep muscle tissues of the forearm, where nerve and vascular channels intertwine. When activated properly, it supports muscular strength, nerve stimulation, and, this is crucial for older men, hormonal signaling related to testosterone and performance. How to find and activate Li10. 1. Extend your arm, palm facing your body. 2. Find the crease of your elbow, then move about 2 inches down the forearm along the outer, thumb side, edge. Press gently until you find a slightly sore or tender spot. That's your Li10. 3. Apply firm pressure in small circular motions. You should feel mild discomfort, not pain, but a good soreness. 4. Breathe slowly. Hold the pressure for 60 to 90 seconds. rotate your wrist gently to stimulate the muscle. Curtis pressed this point daily. He told me after 2 weeks, "Doc, I don't just feel stronger, I feel present again, like something in me turned back on." And that's exactly what Li10 is meant to do. Now here's the exciting part. When you combine these 3 points, Li4, Lao Gong, and Li10, something powerful happens. You're no longer just stimulating blood flow. You're creating a triangle of neurological, hormonal, and circulatory activation designed for the male body. But stimulation alone isn't enough. You need oxygen and a way to deliver it deeper than shallow chest breathing ever can. In the next part, I'll show you a simple breathing ritual you can do every morning to supercharge these effects and fuel the fire you've just awakened. Let's talk about the morning breath booster.
5. The morning breath booster, fueling the fire with oxygen. After awakening those pressure points, there's one more thing your body desperately needs to bring the system fully online: oxygen. Not the shallow kind that barely reaches your lungs. I'm talking about deep, belly-driven, oxygen-rich breath, the kind your body was designed to use, but most men haven't done properly in decades. Let me tell you about Leonard, 67 years old, smart guy, still working part-time, ate well, walked daily, but he came to me saying, "Doc, I feel like I'm running on half a tank even when I sleep well." I knew right away what was missing. You see, most men breathe like they're in a rush, quick, chesty, forgettable. But true circulation requires deep, diaphragmatic breathing, because that's how you move blood, oxygen, and hormones into the places that matter most: your brain, your organs, and yes, your pelvic floor. Here's what I taught Leonard, what I now teach every man who wants to bring life back into his mornings: the morning breath booster, the 4-7-8 flow, and pelvic activation. 1. Lie on your back or sit upright in a quiet spot. 2. Place one hand on your belly, the other on your chest. The goal? Only your belly hand should rise when you breathe. 3. Inhale slowly through your nose for 4 counts. Feel your belly expand gently. 4. Hold your breath for 7 counts. During this hold, gently contract your pelvic floor muscles, the same ones you'd use to stop a stream of urine. 5. Exhale slowly through your mouth for 8 counts with a soft whoosh. Relax your belly as you do. Repeat for 5 rounds. That's it. What's the result? Blood flow deepens, nervous system resets, hormonal signals begin to shift. And that stuck feeling many men describe starts to loosen. 2 weeks after starting this practice, Leonard called and said, "Doc, I feel clearer, more awake. My wife noticed before I did." That's the power of intentional breath. But breath is only half the morning equation. There's another element most men think they're getting right, but almost always miss. Let's talk about hydration.
6. Hydrate like this, not like that. Here's a simple truth. Most men over 60 are dehydrated and don't even realize it. I've seen this pattern again and again. They say, "But Doc, I drink plenty of fluids, coffee, iced tea, a glass of water here and there." Let me introduce you to Bill, 74, retired mechanic, tough guy. He told me proudly he drank coffee all day and figured that counted. We ran his labs. His blood was thick, sluggish, struggling to move. His hands and feet were cold. His energy dipped mid-morning and never really came back. He wasn't broken. He was dried out. The truth is, hydration isn't just about drinking some water. It's about how, when, and what kind of water you drink. Especially first thing in the morning, when your body is like dry soil after a long drought. How to hydrate properly after 60. 1. Skip cold water. It shocks your system and constricts blood vessels, bad for circulation. 2. First thing after waking, drink 16 to 20 ounces of room temperature water, not sipped, not with coffee, just pure water. 3. Add a pinch of mineral-rich sea salt and a squeeze of fresh lemon. This combination provides electrolytes, supports adrenal function, and improves cellular absorption. 4. Then move. Gentle stretching, light walking, or even activating your pressure points. This pushes the hydration into your tissues, not just your stomach. Bill followed this exact routine. 1 week later, he came back to my office and said, "Doc, I don't just feel better, I feel awake. My hands are warmer, my brain's clearer." That's the difference between drinking to survive and drinking to circulate. And now you've got oxygen, you've got hydration, you've got your pressure points working. But there's one moment in the day that almost every man overlooks, a moment that determines how you'll feel tomorrow morning. Let's talk about what to do before bed to lock in all the gains you've made.
7. Do this before bed for stronger mornings. You've spent the day activating blood flow, fueling your body with breath and hydration. But what happens when the sun goes down? For most men, that's when things shut off, but not in a healing way. It's more like drifting, numbing, or collapsing in front of a glowing screen. And then they wake up feeling flat, no energy, no clarity. And that quiet confidence that used to come with the sunrise, gone. Let me tell you about Harold, age 70, fit, retired school principal, did everything right. But he told me, "Doc, I wake up feeling disappointed, like I did everything right, but the tank's still empty." So I asked one question, "What do your nights look like?" He shrugged, "TV until I fall asleep." That's more common than you think. But here's what most men don't realize. Your blood flow, hormones, and morning energy are rebuilt while you sleep, but only if your body is given the signal to do so. When you stare into a screen at night, you send your brain the wrong message. It's still daytime. Stay alert. Hold the tension. This shuts down melatonin, raises cortisol, tightens your blood vessels, and leaves you wired but tired, unable to repair. So here's what I gave Harold, and what I now give to every man who wants to wake up proud, not disappointed. Evening routine for restorative circulation. 1. 2 hours before bed. Turn off screens, TV, phone, tablet. Dim the lights. Let your nervous system downshift into rest mode. 2. Right before bed. Do a second round of your pressure points. Li4, the web of the hand. Lao Gong, center of the palm. Li10, the forearm. Spend 60 seconds on each point and breathe slowly and let the body melt into calm. 3. Optional, add 5 rounds of the breath booster if your mind is racing. A week later, Harold looked 10 years younger. He said, "I'm not just sleeping better, Doc. I'm waking up proud again. I forgot what that felt like." And I smiled, because that's what this work is all about. But sometimes, despite doing all the right things, progress stalls. That's when I look for what's getting in the way. Because the truth is, most men are unknowingly doing small things every day that sabotage circulation. Let's uncover those next.
8. The circulation killers you must avoid. Let me tell you a truth I've learned the hard way. Sometimes it's not what you're missing, it's what you're doing every day without realizing that's silently shutting your system down. That was the case with Glenn, 66 years old. He was committed, did the breath work, the pressure points, even changed his diet. But his results were inconsistent. Some days he felt amazing, other days like nothing was working. So I asked him to walk me through his daily habits, step by step. Here's what we found, and these are the exact same 3 mistakes I see in most men over 60. 1. Checking the phone first thing in the morning. You may think you're just looking at the weather or checking a few messages, but your eyes, brain, and nervous system don't know the difference. Within seconds, cortisol spikes. That stress hormone closes your blood vessels, increases your blood pressure, and pulls you out of your natural flow state. The body tightens, circulation stalls. 2. Drinking ice-cold water after brushing your teeth. This one surprises most men. But cold water, especially first thing in the morning, constricts blood vessels, particularly in the digestive tract and pelvic region. It's like pouring freezing water into warm soil. The system shuts down instead of waking up. 3. Sitting for long, uninterrupted hours. Glenn told me he read a lot, watched TV, napped in his recliner. But no movement means no flow. When the hips, thighs, and lower back stay locked for hours, blood pools. The pelvic region, the very source of male vitality, becomes starved of oxygen and movement. Here's what we did. Glenn started leaving his phone off for the first 30 minutes after waking, switched to warm lemon water instead of ice water, and began standing up every 45 to 60 minutes doing gentle hip circles or walking for 2 to 3 minutes. 2 weeks later, he came in and said, "Doc, I didn't even realize how much I was getting in my own way." And that's the point. You can be doing 90% of things right, but if 1 or 2 silent circulation killers are in your daily routine, they cancel the gains. Now that we've cleared the blockages, you're ready to supercharge everything. In the next part, I'll show you a powerful morning drink, a simple blend of ingredients that boosts nitric oxide, opens up your blood vessels, and kickstarts your system with natural fire.
9. The Circulation Elixir, a doctor-backed morning drink to reignite flow. Let me be clear. All the breath work, pressure points, and hydration in the world will never reach full power if your inner bloodstream is still sluggish. That's where this comes in. A morning drink I've recommended to hundreds of men. Not a gimmick, not a superfood shake, just a precise combination of ingredients designed to unlock nitric oxide, dilate blood vessels, and awaken the body's circulation engine. I call it the Circulation Elixir. Let me tell you how I came up with it. One of my patients, Frank, age 73, had done everything I recommended, yet his blood pressure stayed high and his energy hit a wall by 10 a.m. We ran a few labs and found his nitric oxide levels were in the basement. His blood vessels weren't relaxing. His oxygen wasn't reaching his muscles. And that, my friend, is like trying to run a race while holding your breath. So I put him on this natural blend. Within 10 days, he told me, "Doc, I feel warm again. I wake up with purpose, and I'm not dragging my feet by mid-morning." Dr. Prescott Morning Circulation Elixir. Ingredients: 1 cup warm water, not cold. 1 tablespoon fresh lemon juice. Half a teaspoon beetroot powder, or 1 ounce beet juice. A small pinch of Himalayan or Celtic sea salt. Optional, 1/4 teaspoon L-citrulline powder, especially helpful for older men with poor circulation. Instructions: 1. Mix all ingredients in warm water. 2. Drink on an empty stomach 10 to 15 minutes after your breathwork and pressure point sequence. 3. Wait another 10 to 15 minutes before eating breakfast. Why it works? Beetroot is high in dietary nitrates, which increases nitric oxide, which relaxes blood vessels, which brings that young man feeling back. Lemon plus salt helps with electrolyte balance and absorption.
Warm water keeps blood vessels open and receptive. L-citrulline supports testosterone-related blood flow without spiking pressure. Some men notice tingling in their hands. Some feel warmth in the chest. That's the signal. Flow is returning. But now comes the part most people ignore. You've got the tools, the techniques, the elixir. But when you do each step determines whether you feel the full benefit. That's where timing becomes medicine.
10. When to do all of this for maximum effect. I get this question a lot. Doc, should I do all of this in the morning? Can I skip some steps? How do I make it fit into my day? Let's get practical. The goal isn't to add stress. It's to build rhythm. Think of your daily flow like a symphony. Each element plays a different instrument, but if you don't follow the right sequence, it's just noise. Dr. Prescott's daily flow routine for men over 60. Upon waking, 7 to 7:30 a.m. No phone for the first 30 minutes. Drink your circulation elixir. Activate the 3 pressure points, Li4, Lao Gong, and Li10. 5 rounds of breath booster, 4-7-8 technique with pelvic floor contraction. This is the ignition switch. It primes your blood flow, oxygenation, and nervous system before you move into the day. Mid-morning, 9 to 10:30 a.m. Light movement every 60 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes of walking, gentle hip circles, or arm stretches. If seated long, reading, TV, desk work, repress Li10 for 30 seconds. This keeps flow alive through your limbs and prevents stagnation in the pelvic region. Late afternoon, 4 to 6 p.m. Hydrate again, warm water with lemon. Light stretching or short walk outdoors. This supports natural testosterone dips and keeps inflammation at bay. 1 hour before bed, 9 to 9:30 p.m. Screens off. Dim the lights. Second round of pressure points, especially Li4 and Lao Gong. Optional, 3 to 5 rounds of breath booster. This tells your nervous system it's safe to power down and lets your body rebuild overnight. What I tell every patient is this: you don't need to be perfect, you need to be rhythmic. Miss a morning? Pick it back up that evening. Didn't do the breath work today? Do it before sleep. Your body isn't a machine, it's an orchestra, and you're the conductor. And when you honor its rhythm, the energy comes back, the confidence comes back, the fire comes back.